The subject line wasn't suspicious. Confirmation. Waterside Suites, Newport, May 16, 18. The problem was that Ethan Ward was never supposed to see it. The message pinged in at 3:12 a.m. Afghanistan time, as Ethan sat hunched in the dim corner of the ops tent, eating cold MRE lasagna while reviewing intercepted metadata from a smuggler network. His fingers brushed the screen of his satellite-linked tablet by instinct, expecting a briefing memo. But what blinked up was a hotel confirmation, from Jessica's email, to someone named CH. Looking forward to the weekend. I'll tell Ethan I'm taking the kids to Mom's. They won't question it. For a moment, Ethan stared, breath arrested mid-chest. His first reaction wasn't rage, it was calculation. Dates, location. Who was CH? Why Newport? Who booked the room? He tapped into his secondary authentication layers, encrypted, untraceable, and opened the metadata trail. The IP matched their home router in Virginia. She'd sent it using their family laptop. That's when his heart cracked, not because she'd lied, but because she didn't even bother using a different device. 12 hours later, between debriefings, Ethan ran his usual family checks. Jessica hadn't called. The kids hadn't FaceTimed. Last week, Dylan, 13, said he was going to a baseball clinic. Ethan checked, no clinic scheduled in town that weekend. Ava, 9, had missed her last 2 online tutoring sessions. The pattern clicked together like enemy troop formations. But this time it wasn't Taliban fighters. It was his wife. Jessica hadn't always been this way. When they married 12 years ago, she was bright, idealistic, and relentlessly loyal. But deployments had taken a toll. 3 and 8 years. The kids saw more of him on a screen than in person. And Jessica? She had stopped signing off her emails with love 2 rotations ago. Still, betrayal? No, not Jessica. Until now. Ethan didn't reply to the email. He archived it in a hidden directory. Then he opened a dormant folder. Home Security Stream. He had installed a security feed a year ago, disguised under the heating panel interface. Jessica knew about the main cameras, but not the embedded microstreams. 2 clicks, and his bedroom came into view. A soft glow illuminated the headboard. 2 wine glasses. Music from a Bluetooth speaker. Coltrane, the one they used to dance to after putting the kids to bed. Then he saw him. Tall, trim, confident stride, shirt half unbuttoned. He walked into the frame like he belonged there. Jessica followed seconds later, barefoot, giggling like a teenager. They kissed. Then she poured wine into Ethan's crystal glasses, the set from their wedding registry. The man picked up the same glass Ethan had toasted her with on their 5th anniversary. Ethan didn't scream. He didn't flinch. He screen-recorded the footage, time-stamped, geotagged, secured on military-grade cloud storage. Then he whispered aloud, "Okay, that's war." Back on base, Ethan was the calm one, the analyst everyone relied on when things got too hot. His nickname, Slate, came from his ability to wipe emotion from his face like chalk off a board. But even Slate had limits. He brought the footage to Captain Mara Layton, his commanding officer. "I need to request early leave," he said, voice even. "Family emergency?" "Yes, ma'am. Domestic compromise. Possible security breach." She arched an eyebrow. "Talk to me." Ethan outlined the basic facts. No names, just concerns. "Jessica's new friend has been spending a lot of time with my kids. I have reason to believe he's been asking them about what I do, what systems I use, phrased as curiosity. Innocent enough, unless you know what to listen for." Layton's eyes narrowed. "You think you're being targeted?" "I don't know yet, but I want to find out before the kids say the wrong thing to the wrong man." She nodded slowly. "Take 10 days. I'll log it as family reconsolidation. Unofficially, I expect an update in 72 hours. Yes, ma'am?" Ethan landed in Virginia on a gray Thursday morning. He didn't call home, didn't even turn on his personal phone. Instead, he borrowed a car from his sister, Rachel Ward, a corporate attorney who had always distrusted Jessica's sudden post-deployment glow-ups. Rachel said as she handed him the keys. You better be sure, because if you're wrong, this gets ugly fast. I'm not wrong. He parked 3 blocks from his own house, walked the neighborhood, confirmed license plates, noted a gray Mercedes coupe parked across the street, the same one that appeared 3 times in the footage. He waited until after school pickup. The moment Jessica's car left, he walked up the driveway, punched in the code. Yes, she'd forgotten to change it, and stepped inside. The house smelled like bergamot and wine. A man's jacket hung on the chair in his office, his reading chair. His family photos, his, were turned face down. He walked past the living room and stopped at the hallway mirror. His reflection stared back, uniform crisp, posture perfect, but his eyes were glass, cold, footsteps. He turned as the front door opened. Jessica's voice floated through first. Kids, grab your bags. Oh my God. She froze mid-step. Ava let out a squeal and ran toward him. Daddy! He knelt just in time to catch her. Hey, princess. Dylan stood motionless. You're back early. Mission shift. Surprise. Jessica recovered quickly. You should have called. I wanted it to be authentic. Her eyes flickered. I thought you were overseas for 2 more months. I thought you were at your mom's last weekend. Silence. She turned pale, but forced a smile. Let's talk later. The kids are fine. I took them for ice cream. Then a movie. We made memories. Want to see the pictures? No, she snapped, then softened. I mean, not now. He stepped aside. Go ahead. Grab whatever you need. Excuse me? You're not staying here tonight. You're not bringing him back either. Ethan, you don't have the right. I have surveillance, I have timestamps, I have footage, and I have custody petitions already filed. That gives me rights. Her mouth dropped. Do you think I came unprepared? She crossed her arms. You always were more soldier than husband. Ethan looked her straight in the eye. And now I'm both. To the end. He slept in the guest room that night. Not because he was afraid, but because he didn't want to breathe the air they'd polluted. As he lay in the dark, Ava tiptoed in and curled up beside him. You're staying this time, right? He kissed her hair. Yes, baby. I'm staying. Then from the hallway came a voice. Jessica's. Soft, bitter. You're going to ruin everything we've built. Ethan didn't look up. You already did. If you've ever been dismissed after giving your all, type 1. The knock came at 9:11 a.m. sharp. Ethan opened the front door expecting a delivery, maybe the contractor for the broken gutter Jessica never fixed. Instead, a woman in heels, tailored navy pantsuit, and a perfectly neutral expression extended a thick manila envelope toward him. Mr. Ward? Yes. You've been served. She turned and walked away without another word. Ethan stared at the envelope like it was an IED with no timer. He closed the door, walked to the kitchen table and opened it slowly. Petition for divorce, petition for sole legal and physical custody, motion to award family home, and 70% of spousal pension. His eyes scanned the line of reasoning. Due to prolonged absences, emotional instability caused by military-related trauma, and concerns over consistent parenting availability. PTSD? He had never once been diagnosed. He had medals, commendations, flawless mental evaluations from 3 deployments. Yet here it was, weaponized fiction. Jessica was not just cutting him out. She was rewriting the narrative as if he were the threat. You need to see this. Ethan stood in front of his lawyer's desk. Tara Collins, former military JAG, and one of the few family attorneys who understood how custody law could be twisted against active duty service members, flipped through the paperwork. She's going for the jugular, Tara said flatly. Full custody, house, pension, psychological discreditation. She's using what I've done for my country to take my kids away, Ethan muttered. Tara looked up. That's what they do. Civilians with no deployment time paint you as unstable and absent. I've seen it before. We'll push back. Can we countersue? Not exactly, but I do have a clause she didn't see coming. That afternoon, Ethan picked up Dylan and Ava from school. Ava ran to him immediately, but Dylan hung back. Why did Mom say you're not living here anymore? Ethan crouched beside him. Buddy, sometimes grown-ups have different ideas about what's best. But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And nothing that's happening is your fault. Dylan bit his lip. Mom says her new friend might move in soon. Ethan's stomach twisted. Did she say when? After the judge says she can have the house. The courtroom wasn't just going to be a legal battlefield, it was the front line of a domestic siege. 2 nights later, Rachel called. You might want to sit down. Ethan was already sitting, staring at his daughter's crayon drawing. It was her and Uncle Cam holding hands. He wore Ethan's favorite baseball cap. What is it? I ran a quiet search on Jessica's finances. She opened a custodial trust last year, redirected the kids' inheritance from Dad's will, named herself as the executor. You're no longer listed. She moved my name off their trust? Rachel sighed. It's technically legal, since she claimed you were unreachable during deployment, but it's not ethical, especially since, guess who her new financial advisor is? Ethan said nothing. He didn't have to. Cameron Hale, Rachel finished. He's been helping her restructure everything. That night, Ethan reviewed security footage from 6 weeks prior. A voice clip triggered an alert. Jessica, once we file, his records make him look like a ghost dad. PTSD, classified work, he won't even get joint visitation. Cameron, it's airtight. Just don't let the kids mention what you've been doing with the network passwords. Ethan rewound, played it again, slower. The network passwords. They weren't just building a case. They were using his children, and possibly his devices, to collect something far more dangerous than custody leverage. Back in Tara's office the next morning, Ethan handed over a flash drive. This is from my internal logs. Passive capture only. Public areas, no audio manipulation. Tara plugged it in. Jessica's voice again. He won't know we copied anything from his old laptop. I deleted the temp logs. Tara hit pause. That's enough to raise flags in court. Not criminal yet, but enough to build doubt. So what's the clause? Ethan asked. Custody Clause 4C, Military Family Protection Initiative. If you prove the other parent is acting in bad faith or endangering access to critical service-based benefits, especially retirement pensions, you can trigger an override for emergency joint custody and financial injunctions. Will it hold? If we play it right and don't look desperate, yes. The hearing was scheduled for Tuesday. Jessica and Cameron arrived early, hand in hand. She wore a designer blazer Ethan had never seen before. He wore a smirk that begged for a punch. Tara leaned in. Let them look confident. It'll make the drop harder. Judge Miranda Keller, known for her impartiality and steel backbone, presided. Jessica's attorney, Maggie Voss, began with venom. Your Honor, my client has been the sole caregiver for these children, while Mr. Ward was abroad on classified operations, the details of which we, of course, cannot verify. She shot Ethan a smug glance. We contend that his repeated absences, coupled with his background in psychological warfare, may create an unsafe environment for consistent parenting. Tara stood. Objection to character assassination without evidence. Sustained, Judge Keller said. Move forward. Voss continued. We ask for full legal custody, the marital home, and 70% of Mr. Ward's military pension as just compensation for over a decade of domestic caretaking. Judge Keller raised an eyebrow. That's ambitious. Then it was Tara's turn. She laid it out calmly. Ethan's service, his steady contact with the children, his financial contributions, and most importantly, evidence of digital and legal manipulation. Your Honor, she concluded, we are filing under Custody Clause 4C for an emergency injunction. Furthermore, we believe the opposing party is actively working with a third-party advisor, Mr. Cameron Hale, to alter financial and legal documents tied to military benefits and inherited assets. Voss stood quickly. That's slander. Tara clicked the remote. Jessica's recorded voice filled the room. Once we file, his records make him look like a ghost dad. PTSD, classified work. The judge held up a hand. That's enough. She looked directly at Jessica. Mrs. Ward, were you aware your financial advisor is under investigation for prior ethics violations? Jessica blinked. No. The judge turned to Ethan. Mr. Ward, are you seeking full custody? No, Your Honor. I'm seeking shared custody, stability, and protection for my children's inheritance. That answer shifted something. Visibly, as they left the courtroom, Tara whispered, She underestimated your restraint. That wins more points than anger ever could. Rachel was waiting outside with the kids. Ava ran into his arms. Dylan followed, more reserved, but still held on longer than usual. Over their shoulders, Jessica stood frozen on the courthouse steps, watching the family she thought she could reshape without consequence. Cameron reached for her hand, but she didn't take it. If you've ever had to fight back harder because someone rewrote the truth about you, type 2. The FBI didn't knock. They entered the courtroom in full tactical gear, 4 agents in suits and 2 military police officers in Kevlar, moments after the judge finished reading Ethan's submitted evidence. Nobody moves. This court is now under federal jurisdiction. Jessica's lawyer dropped her pen. Cameron Hale stood slowly, like a man already calculating an escape route. Mr. Hale, said Agent Wardell, or should I say Andre Holtz, you're under arrest for espionage against the United States and operating as an unregistered foreign agent. Jessica gasped, half standing. What? What are they talking about? Ethan didn't move. He just watched the moment masks fell and roles reversed. Holtz locked eyes with Ethan, lips curling into something that wasn't quite a smile. Smart soldier, he muttered, as 2 agents clamped cuffs around his wrists. I know, Ethan replied coolly. 48 hours later, Jessica sat across a federal interrogation table. The footage from the questioning, while not public, eventually made its way into Ethan's secure file archive. She claimed ignorance, claimed Holtz had lied about his identity, his background, his intentions, claimed she thought the money, over $85,000 in tracked transfers, was from joint investments in a biotech startup. But her story cracked when investigators matched her IP address to document exfiltration attempts from Ethan's secure drive performed on the exact weekends Holtz stayed over. The file names weren't classified, but the pattern, the naming conventions, the timing with Ethan's overseas briefings, that was enough. Meanwhile, Ethan had temporary full custody of Dylan and Ava. They didn't ask about their mom. Not at first. But the questions came eventually, usually around bedtime, whispered like confessions. Is Mommy in trouble? Ava asked one night. Ethan sat beside her, smoothing the blanket over her legs. Mommy made some bad choices, but she still loves you. Did she help the bad guy hurt you? He didn't lie. She didn't stop him when she should have. At the Pentagon, Ethan was offered a quiet transfer, a new intelligence unit focused on domestic infiltration of military families, a task force born from the exact kind of breach he had lived through. General Harrington, flanked by high-ranking officers, told him bluntly, "You're the case study we're now modeling national defense policy around. We'd like you to lead the Family Security Division." Ethan declined the leadership role, for now. My kids need normal before I rebuild anything else. But he agreed to consult, train analysts, and help draft early warning systems based on behavioral flags, financial shifts, family dynamic triggers, social pattern anomalies. He knew the signs now, too well. 3 weeks later, Tara met him outside court with an update. Jessica's pleading down, wire fraud, unlawful access to federal property, 8 years with potential parole in 4 if she cooperates. And the kids? You've got primary custody, supervised visitation if she completes parenting classes and psychological evaluations. Ethan nodded. I'm not out to destroy her, just to protect what's left. It should have ended there. But it didn't. Holtz, Andre Holtz, real name confirmed through Interpol, began talking. Not just about Jessica, about other targets, other families, other soldiers whose absences had made them vulnerable. He described his strategy in chilling detail during a post-arrest debrief. Find the spouse. Learn their needs. Make it emotional. Make it domestic. Nobody suspects romance as espionage until it's too late. He'd done this before. 4 other families. Each time, charm, trust, proximity to sensitive materials, and he wasn't working alone. Ethan reviewed transcripts in a secure ops room 2 floors beneath the Joint Intelligence Command. Holtz's network extended across 3 states and at least 2 major military hubs, Norfolk and Pensacola. The same week Holtz was arrested, 2 encrypted packets were intercepted at a private marina. Coordinates linked them to another officer's wife, targeted the same way Jessica had been. Do you believe she ever loved you? One of the investigators asked Ethan. He stared at the digital reconstruction of Jessica and Holtz laughing in his living room. Maybe, but not enough to stop what she was part of, and not enough to stop using our kids as leverage. One day, Dylan came into the kitchen with a question that chilled Ethan's blood. Did I do something bad by telling Mr. Cameron about your lockbox? Ethan froze. What do you mean? He asked what you kept in your office when you came home. I told him about the locked drawer and the old laptop with your thumbprint on it. I didn't think it was a secret. It's not your fault, Ethan said immediately, pulling his son into a hug. You didn't do anything wrong. But inside, rage churned. Holtz hadn't just charmed Jessica. He'd infiltrated his children's trust, used bedtime conversations and cool lessons to extract intelligence. And Jessica had let him. The next visitation was canceled. Permanently. Jessica's privileges were revoked after security scans detected attempts to encode messages into children's drawings and letters, a steganographic system Holtz had taught her through prison mail. That was the final line. No more visits, no more supervised calls. Only silence. Ethan filed for full termination of parental rights. Tara prepared the paperwork, noting, "You'll win, but it's going to hurt." "I've already lost something," Ethan replied. "This is just ensuring my kids don't." On the evening of his final testimony, he tucked Ava into bed. She stared up at him with wide, uncertain eyes. "Do bad people always get caught?" "Not always," Ethan said. "But sometimes, if you're patient enough, they walk right into the trap." The next morning, Jessica's new lawyer requested one final meeting. Jessica says she wants to explain everything in person, not for court, for closure. Ethan didn't even hesitate. "No." Then, after a beat, "But if she wants to know how this ends, tell her I'll let the judge show her. If you've ever realized someone had been living in your home but never truly belonged there, type 3. The email was short. Subject, emergency. Donovan Children. From Internal Security, MFSU, to Ethan Ward. We've intercepted coded references to Ava and Dylan in the latest communications between B. Donovan and Resnick. Content suggests ongoing attempts to gather intelligence through visitation. Recommend immediate revocation of all contact privileges." Ethan's coffee cup slipped from his hand and shattered on the kitchen floor. Ava, half asleep at the table, jumped. "Dad?" He inhaled slowly, picked up the pieces and forced a smile. "Nothing, sweetheart, just a work thing." But inside, he wasn't calm. He was fire. Jessica had promised reform. She'd begged for supervised visitation, claimed she just wanted to be a mother again. But now she was using bedtime conversations and sketch pads to pass encoded questions to his children, again. An hour later, Ethan stood in the war room of the Military Family Security Unit, glaring at decoded transcripts. Every line looked innocent, until you applied the AI filter that picked up steganographic substitutions. "Has Max mentioned any new friends?" Translation: "Who is Ethan working with now?" "Does Laura still play piano with you?" Translation: "Is his new partner part of cyber defense?" "Tell your dad I'm proud of him for fixing the office safe." Translation: "What's the new security layer on his classified cabinet?" Walsh, the agency's lead linguist, dropped the file. "It's not just betrayal anymore. This is continued exploitation. She's a conduit. Willingly or not, she's still leaking." Ethan's voice was ice. "Pull her visitation. Today." The next evening, Ethan sat Ava and Dylan down. "Your mom won't be visiting for a while," he said gently. "Did we do something wrong?" Ava asked, her lip trembling. "No." "She did." Dylan clenched his fists. "She lied again, didn't she?" Ethan nodded. "She asked questions she wasn't supposed to, about me, about our house, about Laura." Dylan stood abruptly and walked to the sliding glass door. "I don't want to see her again." Ava buried her face in Ethan's chest. "I hate her." He held them both and said nothing, because there was nothing left to say. Jessica was moved to a maximum security unit, all communications severed except through legal counsel. Meanwhile, Andrei Resnick, formerly Cameron Hale, attempted a new bargaining chip. He wanted to speak to Ethan. One more time, allegedly to provide intel on sleeper agents inside the Naval Intelligence Base in Norfolk. Ethan debated for 5 days, then he agreed. On one condition: "We speak in the observation room, under surveillance, and he never mentions my children." The reunion was anticlimactic. Resnick, now thinner, older, and stripped of his smirk, sat cuffed to the table. "You know, I tried to warn her," he said first. Ethan didn't respond. "She thought she was smarter than the system. She wasn't." "What do you want?" Ethan asked coldly. "There's a lieutenant commander at Norfolk. Wife's a school counselor. She's being groomed. Same pattern. You can stop it." Ethan took the names, locations, and timestamps. Resnick leaned in, eyes gleaming. "Have you ever wondered if she loved either of us?" Ethan stood. "Only thing I wonder is how long it'll take to scrub you from history." The intel checked out. A second family was saved. An arrest was made. Ethan's team uncovered 2 more compromised households within 60 days. His children would never know how many lives their father's quiet decisions had protected. But that was the job. Build the wall, reinforce the gates, let no enemy pass, even if they once called you husband. On a quiet Saturday, Ethan took Dylan and Ava hiking. On the drive back, Dylan asked, "Are you ever going to forgive her?" Ethan didn't answer immediately. "I forgave her enough not to hate her, but not enough to let her hurt us again," Ava said softly. "She doesn't even say sorry the right way." "I know," Ethan said. "That's why this house, our life, is ours now. Nobody gets in unless we let them." Back at home, he opened the back deck, poured lemonade, and watched the kids play catch. Laura stepped beside him. "You don't talk about it much anymore," she said. Ethan nodded. "Because I don't need to. The past taught me to build stronger, not quieter." Laura handed him an envelope. "It's from the courthouse. Final custody ruling. Termination granted." Ethan opened it, read the first line, then folded it once neatly and slid it into the drawer labeled closed. That night, his secure line buzzed. A message from internal clearance logs. Unauthorized access attempt, primary defense server. Subject, B. Donovan flagged device trace. The device had been smuggled into the women's facility 2 weeks ago. Jessica had passed notes to another inmate. Notes intended to reach outside. She was cut off permanently, transferred to a black site-level block with 0 outbound privileges. When Ethan received the final status update, he said only 4 words. Good. Lock the fortress. If you've ever had to rebuild something from ashes just to keep the people you love safe, type 4.